What's up, guys? Today is a recap from a game I just ran last night. It was 4E Ravenloft. I found rules I took for Ravenloft. I found I just converted some stuff. So anyway, I was running the adventure Night of the Walking Dead. It's one of my favorites. It's the first part of the Hyoska Hexad quest line. I don't know. I personally just really like the quest. I think it's well written, and I like how it plays. So, first I had to get my players to Ravenloft. By the way, the players were a Pixie Monk, a Dragonborn Knight, and a Human Infernal Pact Warlock. So, first I had to get everyone there. I had to get everyone in a swamp, in a boat, heading to Ravenloft. By the way, if you are a player, or you plan on playing this adventure or whatever, you may not want to listen. It's up to you. Don't spoil the fun, though, because it is a really fun adventure to play in. But, so, they all had to come from my homebrew world. So I got them together. Two of them, the Pixie and the Dragonborn, were bounty hunters already, and they decided that they wanted to know each other beforehand. So they teamed up. Then the Warlock was on a quest to destroy other tomes of power that would give other people the Infernal Pact line. So that's what he was up to. And they all ended up headed towards the same swamp. So they all, after meeting, they didn't really want to get together at first, but they did in the end. They all went out into the swamps. Now, they went through it. They were a little bit skeptical of each other, but they moseyed on in. They shifted into Ravenloft, unbeknownst to them. None of them actually seemed to realize, even though they all knew it was a Ravenloft game eventually. I don't really know if they didn't realize it or they decided they were going to roleplay it as they didn't. Either way, it's still pretty good. But, so the first encounter they went up against was a crocodile. And I toned down the crocodile and made it a solo creature. The crocodile swam up next to him because no one saw it. Swam up next to him, grabbed the warlock out of the boat and pulled him down into the water and began trying eating him. Unfortunately, he broke free before he could get too damaged, and they started fighting in the water. The knight even went so far as to run off the raft, jump right in front of the crocodile, and start slashing at its face, while the pixie flew up and over and ran behind it and started trying to punch it from behind. So I started doing that. Then the crocodile grabbed the Dragonborn Knight and pulled him under the water so that it was just the two of them. Dragonborn broke free, and then the pixie decided it wanted to fight the crocodile too. So it flew over the water, and the crocodile leapt out of the water, grabbed it, and pulled it down. And nearly killed it, actually, right then. I think he got away with 6 hit points. And after that, nothing too eventful happened. They cut the crocodile eventually and went on their way. The next day, they went up against 3 giant... They were pushing through some heavy reeds. And luckily the pixie, unfortunately for me, but luckily for the pixie and the party, the pixie did spot the frogs before they could attack. And they were able to negate the surprise round. So they're fighting these giant frogs with the ability to swallow. They did almost no damage initially, but they had a 1 damage attack that then dealt 5 ongoing for every round that you couldn't break free, because you were stunned and swallowed. So what happened was the pixie used its pixie dust, and flew the Dragonborn to the land mass, then flew up himself, whereas the warlock was kind of stuck behind in the boat. But something of note though, first of all, they kept getting swallowed, but at one point the pixie actually got swallowed by a frog. And then the frog used the rest, because he was swallowed for, I think, 1 to 2 rounds. And the frog began hopping away and just using all of its movement to get away as fast as possible. But in the end, the pixie broke free and was able to kill the frog that had swallowed it. meaning that was the second time, the second creature to have swallowed him in 24 hours. And they killed the frogs and went on their way. Next, they came upon the Vistani camp the next day and had their fortunes told, and there was a lot of foreshadowing there. I'm not going to go into that part because in the event that someone does run this game or is going to play in it, I don't want to give away everything, at least not something like that, because I like that scene a lot. I thought it was written really well. I thought it worked really well, so I don't want to go into that and spoil it. But they played it fairly well. Next day, they encountered Luke Tarascon, I believe that's pronounced. It's like a French name, whatever. They encountered him, and they were annoyed by that character. They didn't like how the character was so crazy that they couldn't get anything out of it. To the point when they were leaving, the Dragonborn Knight was like, you know what? We can't get information. Maybe later we will. He picked up the guy and just carried him out to the boat. Obviously, that character doesn't care if they do that. That character actually is going to follow them anyway. But that was just funny. And then they got to Marais de Tarascon, the village that the adventure takes place in. And that's during the funeral scene. At first, the Dragonborn and Pixie were going to try and break into the blacksmith shop. I don't know why, but they just felt like they were going to. Unsuccessfully in the end, they decided against it. Whereas the Warlock went out to the actual funeral and began hearing the banging coming from within the coffin. The coffin that's covered in chains and everything. And in the end, he and the party members who eventually came up behind him decided against interfering and just decided to let the event play out. So that's where we called it, right after that part. So, you know, next session I think is either next week or the week after that. So that we'll do another video then. But until next time, have a good one. By the way, in the comments, if you've played this adventure, I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. Or if you just have heard what I've talked about and whatever. Anyway, have a good one.